Here we have a remarkable collection of 1948 Leaf baseball cards, a treasured set that once belonged to the father of the guest.
Year did you say?
This is 1948.
He would have been about 12, 13.
He obviously kept his cards nice.
He loved sports and he was a tidy person in that way, everything in order, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it shows.
The 1948 Leaf baseball card set is one of the most sought-after collections, produced by the Leaf Candy Company. A well-known American confectionery company, Leaf was active from the 1920s to the 1990s, creating a variety of popular candies, chocolates, and sweets. By featuring renowned baseball players on its cards, Leaf aimed to capture the interest of a broad audience, particularly children and young adults passionate about the sport. A fascinating aspect of this collection is the inclusion of rookie cards, special cards that mark a player's first official appearance. Even more compelling are the legendary figures featured in this set, each with a unique and storied career. One such figure is Ted Williams, widely regarded as one of the greatest hitters in baseball history.
Ted Williams had come back from the war. He had some cards before the war, but this was kind of one of his earliest cards when he was back. And this is a very popular issue and a very great image of the splendid Splinter here.
His strategic approach to hitting and unwavering dedication to the sport left an enduring legacy that has influenced generations of players. At auction, each of these Ted Williams cards will command a price of
$1,500 to $2,000 each. Each.
Okay.
Next, we have Babe Ruth cards, one of baseball's most legendary figures. Ruth was among the first 5 players inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936, cementing his place as one of the sport's all-time greats. Items related to Babe Ruth are highly sought after by collectors, and we can expect these cards to sell for.
Those sell around $3,000 each.
Okay.
Following that is a Honus Wagner card. He was famously known as the Flying Dutchman due to his speed, agility, and German heritage. Wagner spent most of his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates, leading the team to 4 National League pennants. At auction, this Wagner card, given the legacy of the icon and also the rarity of this card, it is expected to sell for
Probably worth about $500.
Wow.
Yeah, not bad.
Adding to this impressive collection is a Joe DiMaggio card. He was affectionately known as Joltin' Joe for his powerful hitting and remarkable home run record.
And what's nice and interesting here, you can see there's a color variation in there. This is something you see in this set, is that sometimes they change the color as they were printing them.
In 1955, he was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. It is not far-fetched that these Joe DiMaggio cards will generate a strong price of
Generally sell in between $2,500 and $3,000 each.
Among the rookie cards in this collection, the first standout is featuring Stan Musial, who spent his entire 22-year career with the St. Louis Cardinals. Musial is celebrated as one of baseball's greatest hitters, known for his impressive batting average, power, and remarkable consistency. Each of these Stan Musial rookie cards will fetch a price of
Those sell somewhere in the $3,000 range each.
However, the most significant and valuable rookie cards in this set are those of Jackie Robinson. A trailblazing athlete, civil rights icon, and American hero, Robinson's bravery and determination shattered racial barriers in Major League Baseball. These rookie cards of Jackie Robinson will each attract an exceptional price of
Because these sell for between $15,000 and $20,000 each.
Oh my God.
Right?
Okay.
You got 3 of those.
Yeah.
As a whole, this incredible collection of 1948 Leaf baseball cards will have an insurance value of
The whole collection here of $150,000.
Okay, well, I guess a safety deposit box instead of a bureau.
Here we have an iconic collection of T3 Turkey Red baseball cards, a treasured set that once belonged to the grandfather of the guest. The T3 Turkey Red set was issued by the American Tobacco Company, a leading tobacco manufacturer of its time. These cards were released in 2 series, with the first issued in 1910 and the second in 1911.
This set is considered to be the biggest, the boldest, the best, the most beautiful cigarette card set.
Featuring baseball player images on cigarette packs was a clever marketing strategy that not only promoted tobacco products, but also helped popularize the sport of baseball. This particular collection includes some of the most legendary names in baseball history, each with their own unique story. A notable figure in this set is Cy Young, who began his professional baseball career with the Cleveland Spiders. Young is widely regarded as one of the greatest pitchers of all time, known for his remarkable longevity, consistency, and dominance on the mound. Unfortunately, this card has some condition issues which can potentially affect its value.
Now, this card would probably grade out to a 1 because of the mouse bites here and the pinholes.
Attributed to a legend, this card, despite its physical condition, would easily sell for.
I'd put a value on that at about $1,000.
Next, we have a Sam Crawford card. He started his professional career with the Cincinnati Reds. Crawford's playing style and approach to the game had a lasting impact on baseball's development in the early 20th century. This Sam Crawford card, considering his legacy, we can expect it to sell for.
That's going to be in the $2,000 to $2,500 range.
Also featured in this collection is a Tris Speaker card. He began his career with the Boston Red Sox. Speaker is considered one of the greatest center fielders in baseball history, known for his exceptional defensive skills, powerful arm, and clutch hitting. At auction, this Tris Speaker card, even though it has some minor wears, it will attract a price of.
Probably grade out somewhere around a 3, and that's going to be somewhere around $3,000 to $4,000.
Another standout piece in this set is Nap Lajoie card, one of the greatest second basemen in baseball history. Lajoie spent 13 seasons with the Cleveland Broncos, Naps, leading the team to several American League pennants. At auction, we can expect this Nap Lajoie card will attract a price of.
Again, somewhere in the vicinity of around $3,000.
Adding to this incredible lineup is a Christy Mathewson card. He was one of the greatest pitchers of all time. His unique pitching style and strategic approach to the game influenced the evolution of pitching in baseball. This Mathewson card will command an auction value of.
Probably going to grade out a 4 or 5. Now, this could easily be $5,000 to $10,000.
The final and most iconic card in this set features Ty Cobb, one of the greatest and most celebrated baseball players of all time.
It's the most sought after, the most desired, because he's considered to be the greatest player of that era. Still has the highest batting average to this day.
Cobb was among the first 5 players inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936. As the most significant card in this collection, it will generate a value of
Minimum of $25,000 to $35,000 for the Ty Cobb.
As a whole, this extraordinary collection of T3 Turkey Red baseball cards will bring.
I'd place an auction estimate of $75,000 to $100,000.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
Inheriting baseball memorabilia from a family member can create a deep emotional connection to both the item and the person who passed it down. This remarkable collection belonged to the great-grandfather of the guest, a Major League pitcher who won the World Series with the Philadelphia Athletics.
Tell us where he was from.
I didn't know much about him. I didn't know he was born in Nebraska and moved to Painesville, Ohio in the early 1900-ish area.
The collection includes a pin, a trophy, and a baseball card featuring his image. The Philadelphia Athletics were a Major League Baseball team that played in Philadelphia from 1901 to 1954. The team was founded in 1901 by Connie Mack, who managed the club for an incredible 50 years, a record in North American professional sports. Regarded as the first baseball dynasty, the Athletics dominated the early 20th century, winning 6 American League pennants and 3 World Series titles between 1901 and 1914. One of the highlights of this collection is the baseball card, which has been graded an EX Mint 6. This grading signifies that the card is in excellent condition, with only minor flaws.
Which is a really high grade for a card of that era. In fact, when I researched it, I was not aware of one that graded higher.
At auction, this exceptional sports card is expected to generate a price of
Somewhere between maybe $300 to $400.
Yeah, there you go.
Next, we have the Loving Cup Trophy, an elegant silver cup with 2 handles and a decorative lid. The name of its original owner, Frank Atkins, is inscribed on it. The trophy also features the National League logo on one side, engravings of the Philadelphia Athletics, and intricate decorative patterns on the other sides. At auction, this Loving Cup trophy with its intricate designs is estimated to bring
Would bring $15,000 to $20,000.
Lastly, there is the championship pin, awarded to players from the 1910 World Series winning team. This extraordinary piece features gold and diamonds, making it an exceptional and highly coveted collectible. Only a limited number of these pins were produced, adding to their rarity and value. At auction, this high-quality championship pin will fetch a price of.
That one would sell at auction for between $50,000 and $70,000.
Oh my gosh.
For insurance purposes, the pin and trophy can be insured for a total value of.
Insure the pin and the trophy for $125,000.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Owning a football archive offers a sense of pride and accomplishment, preserving and showcasing a significant piece of football history. This particular archive belonged to the father-in-law of the guest, who is said to have played football for the University of North Carolina team. A notable piece in this collection is a team photo of North Carolina's football team, featuring the guest's father-in-law standing in the back, authenticating the guest's claim.
And then he played, as you said, 1892 to 1895. They were pretty competitive right away. In fact, in that 1895 season, his last season, they finished with 7 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie, first place in their conference.
Founded in 1888, the University of North Carolina's football team is one of the oldest programs in the United States. Over the years, the team has made appearances in several prestigious bowl games, including the Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl, and Gator Bowl. Interestingly, the team photo also captures a player wearing one of the earliest pieces of facial protection equipment, marking a significant development in football safety gear. This historical photograph was taken by Charles Milton Bell, a renowned photographer of the era, and it is also signed by him. Bell's football photographs are a testament to his skill and his passion for capturing the intensity and excitement of the game.
Charles Milton Bell was a very famous American photographer. It's fantastic to see this archive. We are not aware of any other examples of 1892 to 1895 North Carolina football game-worn uniform or photographs.
Another remarkable piece in this collection is a vintage football, commonly referred to as a melon ball or a rugby-style ball. In the early days of American football, these balls were made from inflated pig bladders encased in a leather cover, giving them their distinctive shape and texture. Adding to the collection's uniqueness is a jersey that is identical to the one worn in the historic photograph.
So a lot of the baseball and football jerseys of the time are what's called the bib front, or the similar to this, and a lot of those were inspired by firemen's uniforms.
The collection also includes a pair of quilted pants, designed to provide extra cushioning and protection for players during the game. As a complete set, this North Carolina football archive would have an insurance value of...
You're going to want to insure this group for $25,000.
Wow. Maybe somebody in the family will be interested now. That's great. That's great news.
Autographs from famous players create a personal connection between the collector and the athlete, offering a sense of pride and ownership. In this collection, we have a program and a letter that were discovered among the belongings of the guest's grandmother.
My grandmother was a big football fan, and she and my grandfather went to the 1939 Wisconsin game. When they came back home, they brought the program and gave it to my mother and her sister. They were twins.
Most notably, the letter was written and signed by the legendary Nile Kinnick. Nile Kinnick was an American football player, lawyer, and U.S. Army Air Forces officer. He gained national recognition as a standout halfback for the University of Iowa Hawkeyes football team. Known for his exceptional speed, agility, and elusiveness on the field, Kinnick earned the nickname the Corn Belt Comet. His Heisman Trophy win in 1939 remains one of the most celebrated moments in Iowa Hawkeyes football history. Tragically, Kinnick's life was cut short on June 2, 1943, when he was killed in action during a training mission in the Gulf of Paria off the coast of Venezuela. This particular letter holds a unique historical significance, as it was written in response to a letter sent by the twin sister of the guest's mother when they were children.
Dear Mr. Kinnick, I am 8 years old, and my name is Jean. When my grandmother went to the Wisconsin-Iowa football game, she gave us a program. It's just so polite. And sure enough, he wrote back, and they're very cute.
What makes this letter exceptionally rare and valuable is that it predates Kinnick's Heisman Trophy win and was written by a young man whose life was tragically brief. The Wisconsin-Iowa program on display, while historically significant, has some condition issues.
Iowa won 19-13. The condition on the program?
Yeah.
It's taped along the spine. It's got some creasing. It's got some tearing.
At auction, the signed Wisconsin-Iowa program is expected to command a price of...
Let's give it a $100 value because we love Nile Kinnick.
Meanwhile, the letter from Nile Kinnick, given its rarity and historical value, will generate a price of...
This piece could sell for $15,000 to $20,000.
You're kidding. Oh my God, my husband's going to be so excited. I'm excited. Are you sure?
Pretty confident.
Oh my God.
Autographs have the power to evoke memories of watching a player compete, attending games, or hearing stories about their legendary career. In this collection, we have a pair of Air Jordan shoes signed by Michael Jordan in 1997. These iconic sneakers came into the possession of the guest as a gift from his mentor, making them even more meaningful.
For Christmas, holiday?
Graduation.
And you're graduating from?
LSU.
LSU.
Go Tigers.
Michael Jordan, a former professional basketball player and entrepreneur, is widely regarded as one of the greatest athletes of all time. His dominance on the court, combined with his marketability off the court, transformed him into a global icon. Jordan's partnership with Nike led to the creation of the Air Jordan brand, one of the most successful and influential sports brands in history.
Jordan not only revolutionized basketball when he entered the league in 1984, he revolutionized the sneaker industry. When he was drafted by the Bulls in '84, he could have signed with Adidas, because Adidas and Converse, those were the two big manufacturers of basketball shoes, and Nike was a distant third.
The brand has had a lasting impact on basketball and sports culture, helping to popularize the NBA and inspire generations of athletes and fans. Beyond footwear, Air Jordan has become a global powerhouse, synonymous with excellence, innovation, and style. Notably, this pair of Air Jordans is jewel-signed, making it an extraordinary collector's item. Given the provenance and collectability of these signed shoes, they are expected to command a price of.
Auction estimate on these, $10,000 to $15,000.
That's a lot higher than I was expecting.
A baseball scrapbook serves as a way to capture and preserve cherished memories of teams, players, and iconic moments in baseball history. This particular scrapbook was carefully assembled by the guest's grandfather, who was a baseball player himself. Notably, the guest's grandfather was roommates with the legendary Walter Johnson when they were both recruited to play for the Washington Senators. Walter Johnson, famously known as the Big Train, was one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history. He played for the Washington Senators from 1907 to 1927, earning a reputation for his overpowering fastball and sharp curveball, which consistently overwhelmed hitters. Beyond its personal significance, this scrapbook contains a collection of fascinating photographs capturing memorable moments in baseball history. However, this collection's most notable inclusion is a rare Cleveland baseball petition. This petition, circulated in 1920, called for the banishment of Carl Mays from professional baseball after he threw the pitch that tragically killed Ray Chapman. The document accuses Mays of recklessness and argued that his actions had no place in the sport. Despite the public outcry and efforts to remove him from the game, Mays was neither banned nor disciplined following an official investigation.
Carl Mays from baseball, but they did not. In fact, he went on to win 2 seasons, 26 and 27 games for the Yankees before they let him go.
At auction, the scrapbook, including the petition, would command a value of.
I'd put an auction estimate of $800 to $1,200 on it, okay?
Meanwhile, the petition itself, as a historically significant piece, would fetch a separate price of.
I'd put an auction estimate of $5,000 to $10,000 on it.
Would you really? Oh, that's terrific.
A glance at these cups, and you'd think they were made for royalty. These items are called footed dessert dishes, and they come in different colours. At a close glance, we see that these cups are made by a company called Ambrosius Lamb.
Now, normally, in any kind of antique object, a complete set is always more valuable than the individual parts.
These cups were used to serve exotic desserts to guests. When we look closer, you can see a beautiful scene depicted on the surface of the cups.
And Watteau was an 18th century French painter, and they're not exact copies of any of his paintings.
These cups are quite rare and highly sought after by antique collectors. Even more interesting, the cups are associated with luxury, most especially among the aristocrat families in Europe. At an auction, these 3 sherbet cups, with their radiating magnificence, would sell for.
They usually sell for between $1,500 and $2,000 each.
Each?
Each.
That certainly is a big surprise.
For us are 3 exquisite artworks by some of the most iconic French artists of the 20th century. Our guest inherited this impressive collection from her sister.
Sister was a collector, and she owned the Picasso, the Rodin, and the Matisse.
Yes.
Is a beautiful etched portrait by the legendary Pablo Picasso. He is best known for his pioneering works in Cubism, a style of art that emphasizes geometric shapes and fragmented forms.
So that's your Picasso etching. It's a portrait of his good friend, probably printed around the late 1960s, early 1970s.
This lithograph is a beautiful work by the esteemed Henri Matisse, an incredible artist known for his unique use of color and his fluid and original style of paintmaking and draftsmanship.
Master at this, able to capture such emotion and such humanness in just a few lines, really.
The third piece is a stunning bronze sculpture by the renowned Auguste Rodin. He was a French sculptor who is considered the pioneer of modern sculpture.
Now, though Rodin conceived this in 1910, it was actually cast posthumously much later than that, probably sometime in the 1950s.
This breathtaking Picasso piece is estimated to fetch
of around $1,200 to $1,500 comfortably.
While this charming Matisse artwork is valued at,
I would put a replacement value on this in the $20,000 range.
Lastly, this impressive bronze artwork by Rodin is expected to fetch a significant auction value of
at $50,000.
Oh my goodness.
This item is quite significant because of its origin. It's a letter written by the first president of the United States, George Washington. George Washington was highly revered as a patriotic man, so this letter is an important part of history. This letter was written in 1798, just a year before George Washington's death. A close look at the letter reveals it was addressed to the Secretary of War, James McHenry. We can also see what appears to be the portraits of both Washington and McHenry.
Read the letter. It says, "Dear sir, I'm going to send my carriage for you and your guests. We'll pick you up and we'll look forward to seeing you." And essentially it refers to Mount Vernon.
This letter can be considered a remarkable piece because of its rarity.
And he is giving this autograph letter of George Washington to an individual, and I can't quite read his name. It looks like McKittredge or something like that.
If this letter were to be sold at auction as a rare item, it would retail for nothing less than.
This is probably a $10,000 to $15,000 item.
Wow.
Showcased here is a beautiful vase. While on vacation in Australia, our guest discovered this exquisite artwork in a Melbourne shop. The vase is a remarkable piece of Royal Worcester heritage, crafted with precision by the legendary George Owen. He was an English potter who worked at the Royal Worcester manufactory from the mid-1800s to the early 1900s.
This would have taken him weeks and weeks and weeks of work, cutting out all these incredible tiny little holes.
George Owen's fascination with the strength and resilience of honeycombs inspired this iconic honeycomb design. This resplendent piece is a one-of-a-kind wonder, with a beauty that is unmatched. Upon closer inspection, the base reveals a subtle inscription, G. Owen, and the year of the creation, a discreet signature of the craftsman.
But George Owen is the incredible craftsman.
This extraordinarily rare piece has aged remarkably well, retaining its original beauty and value, giving it an impressive auction value of
£10,000.
Furniture gives every home life, revealing hidden histories. The owner believed the table was from the Georgian period, around George II's time. The expert confirmed it dates to about 1770, linked to Scots architect Robert Adam. The table, made of mahogany, shows a lot of wear and tear, indicating it has been in the family for over 200 years. The expert discovered a hidden compartment underneath, which the owner had never noticed before. This hidden feature added a charming surprise to the table's history.
It hasn't been open for a while. It's a bit dusty there, look. It's hardly ever been used, this.
The table's design is elegant, with fluting inspired by ancient Greece and flower decorations, some of which were added later. This mix of styles highlights the table's unique craftsmanship. The owner had it valued for probate 3 years ago at £122,000, a figure they found surprisingly high. This advice left the owner amazed by the table's worth. The conversation highlighted the table's historical significance, craftsmanship, and enduring family legacy. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
Today, for your insurance policy, you should insure it for £30,000.
In 1965, the guest and her husband purchased a bronze sculpture from an antique shop in Scottsdale, Arizona for $550, paid in installments. The guest was particularly drawn to the sculpture's depiction of violence. The appraiser identified the piece as a work by Christophe Freitin, a renowned French artist from the mid-19th century. Freitin belonged to a group of artists known as animalist sculptors who specialized in animal subjects. Famous for his public monuments in Europe, Freitin also created a sculpture for New York Central Park. This particular sculpture, likely created in the 1850s, exemplifies the French sandcasting technique. It was cast in separate pieces and then assembled, evident from the wiggly attachments on the base. The sculpture retained its original patina and was signed Freyton, indicating its authenticity and period origin. Later bronzes, often cast from earlier ones, tend to lose detail, but this piece remained sharply detailed and beautifully finished. Despite the subject's lack of current popularity among collectors, the piece was still desirable and valued at approximately.
However, it's still a desirable piece, and it's probably worth around $10,000 in a shop.
That's good to know.
The guest held a captivating artifact, a gift from a Colombian art collector to their in-laws. Tiny black dots on the surface, a sign of manganese deposits commonly found in tombs, were the first positive sign. Abrasions on the ears, areas prone to wear and tear over time, added another layer of credibility. The figure is a fascinating combination of male and female. The back revealed a living figure intertwined with a skeleton. Death, for these cultures, wasn't an ending, but a transformation. These objects served as companions for the deceased on their journey to the afterlife. Each detail, the bands on the sides, the hand placement, the facial features, and the double-sprouted stirrup vessel points towards the Calima culture of Colombia. The dating narrowed down the artifact's creation period between 100 BC and 400 AD. This is a truly incredible piece, and at auction, it could fetch.
This is worth $4,000 to $6,000.
In a recent auction, however, the piece sold for $6,000 to $10,000. The guest clutched a small oil painting, a cherished piece passed down from her mother. This isn't your mere painting, but a sketch by Frederick Edwin Church, a renowned artist and the guest's relative by marriage. It is an oil sketch on paperboard, a common practice for smaller works like this one. Church's signature precision and detail were evident in the brushstrokes. The subject matter, however, is a surprise. While Church was known for his majestic landscapes, the sketch detailed a scene, likely from Persia, that the artist encountered during his travels in the 1860s. The unique subject matter, combined with Church's artistic legacy, made the sketch a valuable find. After a careful evaluation, the estimated auction value for this piece is...
A conservative estimate would be $100,000 to $150,000.
Wow. Oh. It was in the basement of my mother's house for a long time.
This is a fantastic scene of people walking on a pavement, which is an unmistakable work of L.S. Lowry. Lawrence Stephen Lowry was a highly recognized British artist who specialized in mill scenes and industrial landscapes, but also portraits. The guest's mother befriended Lowry in the last few years of his life with an intention to write a book about him, for which he gave her this painting. But she got to write the book. The guest is here with a photograph of his mum, with Lowry, when she was invited as a guest to one of his exhibitions. Lowry was really private for most of his life and loved watching people, which characterized his drawings. As a matter of fact, where he lived in Pendlebury, Lancashire, no one knew he had a regular day job as a rent collector. This gave him access to walk through streets and see people, hence the characters in this drawing were likely real people. Moreover, this painting is a lovely scene showing the sun with people going about their business and was drawn using biros and pencils. There are lots of fascinating characters in this drawing, so at auction it would be worth.
I think if this were to come to auction today, we'd probably put an estimate in the region of $15,000 to $25,000.
Wow.
Here is a fascinating piece that looks like a Caron house desk with all the small compartments and spaces. The guest's mother bought the desk about 40 years ago in Montreal. She inherited it 3 years earlier and has been using it since that time. These compartments slide backwards and forwards, and the drawers can be pulled out. The drawers are not so old as they were constructed with little pins and plywood at the bottom, probably dating to the 1920s. Looking at this desk, it is rosewood, having a moulding around the edges, which is French, from the 1840s to 1850s. The legs are fabulous, but usual. Looking at the cuts and mouldings, this desk was originally a piano. It is an 1840 piano, as evidenced in the photograph that accompanied it by the guest. At an auction in Britain, this musical instrument transformed into a desk would be worth.
And in Britain, it would cost best part of £800, which is probably best part of $2,000.
Right.
Oh.
Wow.
A watch collector is here with an old book on clockmaking, acquired at an antique mall. He was struck by the name on the cover, Essai de Horloge, which is French for Essay on Clockmaking. The book was handwritten by Ferdinand Berthoud, a famous clockmaker from Paris who was involved in making the first marine chronometers. This book came about at a time when there was no way to check longitude on the seas, leading to shipwreck, claiming many lives. At the time, King George put out a contest with a prize of £17,000 or $3 million for anyone who could solve the problem of determining longitude. A British watchmaker called John Harrison figured out how to determine longitude, and he wrote this book by hand. There is also a handwritten title page that has Berthoud's cipher. The book is divided into two parts in one volume. One part is the title page, dated 1791, and the other part has the original material with drawings inside. No printed copy of this book is found anywhere, and no mention of Harrison's work anywhere, even though the family still make watches by hand. However, this book was his working notes and should be insured for $80,000. There's a lot of interest in such manuscripts, and at auction, a reasonable estimate would be.
I would say the estimate range should be $40,000 to $60,000.
Wow. Well, I had no idea what it's worth.
Brooke Shields' hairdresser at the Broadway production of Grease in New York is on the show with a beautiful gown given to him by Brooke herself. The gown has 2 autographs from Brooke Shields and Bob Markey, the renowned stylist who made the gown. Bob Markey also sent a copy of his sketch to the guest as a gift. Also, here is a picture of Brooke Shields with her hairdresser in this gown. Brooke Shields, born in 1965, is a prominent American actress who started as a child role model at 11 months and gained widespread notoriety at age 12. She has since continued to make a mark in Hollywood. Bob Mackie is a legendary fashion designer, popularly called the Sultan of Sequins. He did The Carol Burnett Show. Among his notable customers were popular actresses and artists like Cher, Mitzi, Gaynor, and Dolly Parton. This guest was made for Brooke Shields in the 1980s when she was 17 years old. Bob Markey sells for as high as $1,000 to $1,500 on the open market, but this one is special because it has both signatures of Bob Markey and Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields' signature was done in the bosom with an ink pen, which is already fading out. All the beautiful illustration and fashion history surrounding this dress gives it a fair estimate at auction for.
At auction, I would believe that this would probably bring $7,500.
That's pretty amazing. Thank
So
you.
isn't that a great gift?
That's the best gift ever. Thanks, Brooke.
Yeah.
This item was sent by the guest's uncle in the Navy to the family. These kinds of works were done for servicemen who lived in Japan. Mostly, this item comes in smaller sizes, with the painting of Washington, D.C. crossing to Delaware. Manuel Luisa was the person who did the original painting of Washington, D.C. crossing to Delaware, which is in the Metropolitan Museum in New York. The item was done in the 1890s because of the motifs and the painting of Washington, D.C. crossing to Delaware. At an auction, this piece would be worth about.
Estimated it would be worth about $6,000 to $8,000 at auction.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think anybody would have ever thought that.
Anyone who traveled to the Far East Japan always brought artifacts from Mount Fuji. The same is true for this guest's uncle, who traveled on the Grand Tour to the Far East in the 1900s to 1920s. The first is a small porcelain vase that is celadon glazed, patterned to show the snow on Mount Fuji. Also, there is the potter's mark at the bottom of the vase, which is no more than £30 in the market. The second is a piece of enamel tray, outlined with enamels or quasars around the edges, but the central part of the theme is without wires, referred to as museng in Japanese. It is believed to have been made by a prominent museng enamel artist in Japan called Namikawa Suzuki. Even with the little bruise at the corner, this tray would cost between £2,000 and £3,000 on the market. Lastly, there are 2 satsumas. One is like a large wheeled vehicle, having the Japanese version of Lord May's procession on it, while the second one has inside it a design of the sparrows flying through the wisteria. The former, with Lord May's procession, is worth about £200 to £300. However, the latter, with the flying sparrow, made by a man called Yabu Maiza, would be worth.
Yabu Maiza.
This is the one you've chosen.
That's the one I would like, yes.
This is worth somewhere between £2,000 and £3,000.
Really? Fantastic.
You've got the right piece.
I got the right one. What is that?
This guest received this beautifully enamel decorated piece from a neighbor who had inherited it from a family member in Florida about 40 years ago. The bowl had intricate flambe colors blended with various enamel hues, highlighting the significance of the creator and decorator. The piece bore a Royal Doulton mark, indicating it was made by the renowned Royal Doulton manufacturer in England. The appraiser explained that the piece was signed in 2 other places, Sung and Noke. The Sung wear style, influenced by much earlier Chinese designs, was produced between 1920 and 1940. Charles Noke, the chief designer for Doulton from 1899 until he died in 1941, was responsible for many premier wares produced between 1900 and 1940. The appraiser pointed out the unique glaze and red flambe color on the base, signature techniques of Noke. The appraiser praised the piece's excellent condition and estimated its auction value to be between $3,000 and $5,000.
At auction, I would expect it to sell in the range of $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh my.
The guest presented a gift from her father, which she believed to be a drinking gourd. The appraiser identified it as a drinking horn, a rare item in his 12 years with the Roadshow. There was a clip for hanging it on a belt, allowing a person with a rifle to hang it alongside a powder horn.
I think he could have hooked it to his belt, but if he would have had a rifle and had his powder horn down here, then he could have hooked it on there.
The appraiser admired the engraving, "Drink your thirst away," along with the date, 1766, an interesting phrase. The sun-face design, especially the detailed depiction of the mouth and nostrils, was wonderful, much to the guest's delight. The appraiser valued this drinking horn at
That this is a great thing, probably worth $3,000 to $5,000.
Cool. That's great. That's great.
Our guest purchased the Russian parasol handle from an antique dealer in Minneapolis who knew of her collection of parasols. The dealer bought the handle in Iowa and provided information about it, leading to the guest's purchase for $1,000. This handle is marked 72, indicating the quality of the silver, and AT, representing the maker, Alexander Tillander. Alexander Tillander worked in the Faberge style from 1855 to 1918, starting as a barber and
So he took an apprenticeship and he became an accomplished jeweler. And many years later, he went to work in Carl Beck's shop.
The handle features gouache enamel in a robin's egg blue color with intricate silver engravings and gold accents in the form of garlands and flowers. This piece is adorned with a rose quartz cabochon on top, complementing the colors of the enamel. The base of the handle is engraved with 1914 and a crest, possibly related to tennis.
Well, we talked to a few of my colleagues, and these guys love tennis. It was huge back then. Huge, huge.
The value of the handle has increased significantly, with an estimated auction price of
We really feel this would sell for $10,000 to $15,000.
Oh my God.
I think what you have to do is break out one of your parasols
Yes,
and finish it.
absolutely, absolutely. One of the really frilly ones.
Our guest's grandfather received the watch in Galveston, Texas in 1896. He was the editor of the Brotherhood of Locomotive, Firemen, and
Railroad Union's monthly magazine.
Later, he became the president of the union from 1908 to 1922. During World War I, he collaborated closely with William McAdoo to support the war effort. The watch is a complete set, including a chain and a fob with the union's insignia. It was made and sold by the Ball Watch Company and manufactured by the
He sold them. This was made by the Hamilton Watch Company.
The watch has a 14-karat gold case and is inscribed with 23 jewels for precision. Its rarity and historical significance make it valued at
Estimate would be in the order of $12,000 to $15,000.
Terrific. Yeah.
An Olympic gold medal from the 1936 Berlin Olympics was awarded to Carl as a member of the first US basketball team to compete in the Games. Originating from a historic event where basketball debuted as a medal sport, the medal holds significant sentimental value. Carl, who played basketball for Universal Pictures and UCLA, participated in the victorious team.
Uncle Carl didn't talk too much about the trip. Carl was a very quiet man. I either was told or I read.
That clinched the gold medal in a memorable game against Canada amidst challenging weather conditions. This medal is inscribed with Berlin, 1936, marking its prestigious origin, and is accompanied by a photograph of the team en route to Europe for the Olympics. This prestigious medal, at auction, was valued between
Our opinion at auction for the gold medal, we would expect it to sell for between $25,000 to $35,000 at auction.
Oh, wow.
an Argand lamp, an uncommon and unique type of lamp named after its Swiss inventor from the 1780s, was brought in. This lamp became a family heirloom, possibly received as a wedding present or a gift from the grandmother's parents. Unlike typical lamps, it features a circular wick that produces approximately 6 times the light of a candle.
The circular wick created about 6 times the light that a candle would produce.
These lamps primarily burned whale oil and were manufactured by numerous firms in Britain and France, likely English, and sold by Baldwin Gardner. The lamp features an extravagant design from the 1830s to the Victorian era. It features etched globes, one of which is a replacement, and decorative clusters that enhance its light reflection. This prized possession of a complete 3-piece set is estimated to be worth between
A replacement price to be probably somewhere in the $8,000 to $10,000 range. So they're definitely a prized possession.
a child's sword, likely crafted for a member of a royal court, was discussed, originating from Amsterdam in the second half of the 18th century. The child's miniature sword carries historical significance. Such artifacts are notably rare, adding to their allure among collectors.
It was made probably for a member of a royal court.
Initially discovered in the attic of a home purchased by the guest's mother in Northwood in 1975, this sword became a childhood plaything for the guest until it was taken away for safekeeping. Reflecting its careful preservation over the years, the sword remains in fairly good condition. Its scarcity and association with royal court settings enhance its appeal to collectors. At auction, this small sword is likely to fetch between
And at auction, I think that it would sell for somewhere around $1,000 to $1,500.
Really? Nice.
A tiny old radio made by the Polish underground during World War II was brought in, revealing a fascinating history. This former British prisoner of war, captured with the British Expeditionary Force in France in 1914, recounted his story. Enlisted in the 153 Field Ambulance of the Medical Corps, he was ordered to stay behind to care for the wounded and became a prisoner. This radio was smuggled into prison camp by undertakers transporting the deceased. Remarkably, the radio was concealed behind a loose brick in the camp, remaining undiscovered throughout the war.
It was hidden to such a degree that 3 years ago, my wife and I visited Poland.
Accompanied by photographs of the camp and fellow prisoners, the story and these items vividly depict wartime resilience. Due to its unique history and associated photographs, the radio is estimated to be worth
would probably sell for £200 or £300. I mean, it is a very collectible object. And I know you're never going to sell it, I know that.
a set of ceramic candlesticks, inherited from the guest's mother's great-aunt, were brought in. The candlesticks bore a Wiener ceramic mark, indicating they were made by the Viennese Ceramics Workshop around 1906. These pieces were likely produced between 1906 and 1915, during the Viennese secessionist movement. Although intended as potential lamps, they were designed to be used either as candlesticks or electrified lamps.
It came that way, and because the great aunt lived in California, perhaps it fell in an earthquake. At least all the pieces are there.
Okay.
Despite some damage possibly from an earthquake in California, they remained in beautiful condition. The candlesticks' colors and decorations were typical of Central Europe, similar to early 20th century Czechoslovakian glass. This unusual color palette, with vibrant orange and unique decoration, added to their appeal. Even with the damage, the current replacement value for these candlesticks was estimated to be
I would say that a fair or a reasonable replacement value for this, even with the damage, would be $8,000 to $10,000.
You're kidding me!
No, these are
Wow.
these are wonderful.
Wow!
An iconic black peau de soie dress was worn by Marilyn Monroe in the film Some Like It Hot. Designed by Ori Kelly, the Oscar-winning costume designer known for creating Marilyn's glamorous attire, this dress features a distinctive fringe that enhances her movements on screen. This dress is acquired from Donfeld via Western Costume Company and holds significant historical value. Accompanied by photographs of Marilyn Monroe wearing the dress in action scenes from the film, its close fit, and the meticulous craftsmanship that defined Ori Kelly's creation for the actress. Labels on the dress verify its provenance, with one bearing Marilyn Monroe's name, adding to its authenticity and allure. Owing to its association with Marilyn Monroe, at auction, the dress is estimated to fetch between
in an auction, I would not be surprised at all if it went for somewhere between $150,000 and $250,000.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Two cherished paintings, set to be passed down to the next generation, have been in the family for many years. Displayed on an easel, the first painting is by Harry van der Weyden, an English-born artist who later moved to Boston. The second painting is called Schmerz vergessen, meaning to forget the pain, by Ignas Marcel Gorkengigel. This artwork depicts a romantic genre scene of an artist playing his cello in streaming light. Gorkengigel, known for his tight, meticulous style, was born in Bavaria and later painted Harvard professors. Van der Weyden's piece is representative of the classic Barbizon style. Both paintings are in very good condition, with the Gorkengigel painted on wood and the Van der Weyden on canvas.
And in the late 19th century, Boston was really a center of innovations in the United States. And these pieces are really sort of the classic example of what Bostonians were collecting.
Both paintings exemplify the golden age of Boston collecting and high style from the late 19th century, worth about.
The Gorkengigel I would estimate between $5,000 and $7,000. Harry van der Weyden between $3,000 and $5,000.
A French Art Nouveau perfume bottle, manufactured by Le Ville-Rousseau between 1883 and 1900, was brought in. It was acquired by the guest from a flea market in Virginia about 10 years ago. This exquisite piece features multicolored art glass, a burnished red hue, and rare silver mounts. Its design features a distinctive flame finial and intricate floral and leaf patterns. These elements are complemented by an elegant X-border on foot, adding to its artistic appeal and craftsmanship. Notably, the glass has interior crazing, adding to its charm rather than detracting from its value.
It's French, Art Nouveau, and it's Le Ville-Rousseau is the manufacturer of it, about 1883 to circa 1900.
In perfect condition, the bottle stands out among perfume collectors worldwide. Transforming it from a humble flea market find to a prized possession, its value at auction is estimated to be between.
Well, it's a wonderful bottle. The value would be, for auction, $6,000 to $8,000. Oh my word.
Family heirloom, a penny bank from around 1900, has been treasured for approximately 80 years. Penny banks, popular toys in the late 19th century and coveted collectibles in the 20th century.
Penny banks were a very popular toy in the late 19th century and also became very popular among collectors in the 20th century.
Are admired for their sculptural and dimensional qualities, especially those made of cast iron. This particular bank was manufactured by J. and E. Stevens in Cromwell, Connecticut, around the 1890s. This bank features a slot for a cap, creating a small explosion after shooting the penny for extra excitement. The bank has remained in excellent condition, retaining its original paint and most notably, its original feathers. These feathers are a fragile component that is almost always replaced due to their delicacy. In its current condition, with the original feathers and high-quality paint, it is valued at.
This bank, in this condition, with the original feathers and the quality of the paint, would be worth at least $4,000 to $5,000.
Oh, wow.
It's an antique shop, captivating her with its charm. Piano was purportedly originated in the 1700s Germany, crafted for a Dutch girl. The piece was from the 19th century, around 1850 to 1860. Its tapered legs and grain painting, typical of the era, indicated it was from the Empire style. This grain painting imitated the expensive rosewood, making it more affordable. Small but mighty, this miniature square piano wasn't a toy, but a well-constructed instrument. Despite missing parts and aged keys, it was remarkably well preserved.
And I think not a toy, but in fact a student instrument for probably a very well-to-do young child.
The square piano's auction estimate soared too.
If I had this in an auction today, I would estimate it in probably the $1,500 to $1,700 range, and I would be hoping for that collector who's dying for this period square piano in this form.
This is one of the more popular artifacts used during the Second World War. The guest served Britain during the war and acquired it while serving as a bomb disposal officer.
You'd run up to the tank, you'd smash it on the side of the tank, because this is covered in a sticky substance.
It is a British hand grenade known as an ST grenade, or simply a sticky bomb. ST grenade. It was designed and produced by the British for use by the British Army and Home Guard after the Dunkirk evacuation. It was developed to help infantry combat armoured vehicles, especially early in the war, when British forces were often outgunned by German tanks. The interior of the grenade is made of a glass sphere filled with a semi-liquid nitroglycerin compound, the explosive, while the exterior is coated in stockinette and coated with birdlime, the sticking compound. Presented in excellent condition, this World War II artifact has an estimated value of...
And if this came up today, you'd get somewhere in the region of £500 to £700 for it.
This captivating piece was a serendipitous find at an auction, acquired for £300.
And she's lovely, and she's there in my study now, and I work from home, so I see her.
Okay, how much did you pay for it?
£300.
The glamorous self-portrait of an enigmatic woman instantly drew the guest's eye. The appraiser was impressed by the painting's allure, though the artist's signature remains unclear, adding to the mystery.
I think there's a company there that took portraits based at Hollywood. I guess she just travelled. She was very rich. She married Arthur Bendir.
Dating back to the 1930s or 40s, the portrait shows a remarkable technique reminiscent of the Welsh painter Augustus John. Its vibrant colours and expressive brushwork breathe life into the subject, presenting a hauntingly beautiful figure. The colours are vivid and full of energy, commanding attention and admiration. The portrait is presented in wonderful condition, adding to its value. This enigmatic masterpiece holds the promise of fetching a substantial sum at auction, estimated at...
Be happy to pay, I don't know, £1,500 for a picture like this. You know, I think you've got something very chic.
After the passing of his grandfather, this guest stumbled upon a remarkable discovery.
His effects, we found this little blue badge there, and I started to research this story in the factory that was on the badge, William Foster & Company.
A small, unassuming blue pin adorned with the distinguished hallmarks of the Williams Foster Company. Established in 1846 as an agricultural machinery firm, the company underwent a transformative role during the First World War, becoming pivotal in crafting some of the British Army's earliest tanks, known then as landships. The guest's grandfather contributed his expertise to the creation of these groundbreaking war machines. This collection also includes photographs capturing moments with his grandfather and fellow company personnel, along with an original book published by the William Foster Company, signed by Sir William Ashby Tritton.
Does it have photographs of tank in it?
It does, yeah. It's a book that William Foster & Company produced.
Sir William Ashby Tritton. This assemblage stands as a testament to innovation and bravery of these men. Its value is estimated at...
I think it's all going to be worth something in the region of £2,000 to £3,000.
Really?
These Sequoia School pottery pieces are unique artifacts with significant cultural values. Crafted around 1940, these pieces represent a special collection of handmade items. They were crafted by Cherokee children at the Sequoia Orphans Training Center in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Interestingly, these pieces were part of a program to teach pottery skills. The first piece depicts a kneeling figure, and it's signed Clocker.
Sequoia and number 41. Now the forms are somewhat interesting. This is very utilitarian.
Also, the second piece is signed and has a price tag of $2.
To it,
I like
a lot
that
of the trade
one.
coming out. I think this is a fabulous piece, personally.
That's my favorite.
And this seated figure, just fascinating when you see the figure elements.
Additionally, the third piece is signed Ada with a date of 1939. The distinct historical and cultural significance of these pieces contributes to their growing market demand. Today, they are highly valued by collectors, and at auction, the third piece would sell for...
The seated figure on the far side, we think realistically would be between a $600 and $800 piece.
These items and photos have a fascinating story behind them.
I was able to look him up a little bit through papers you had brought that are in the scrapbook, as well as a history online. His name was Major Harry V. Anderson.
They originally belonged to the guest's husband's grandfather, Major Harry V. Anderson. Harry V. Anderson. Anderson served in the 101st Airborne Division during World War II, enlisted in 1994, and was present at the Battle of Bastogne, where his platoon suffered significant losses during a bombing. After the battle, Anderson's unit was tasked with exploring Berchtesgaden, Hitler's lair, uncovering Hermann Göring's looted art collection. Hermann Göring. The collection included masterpieces by Rembrandt, Van Dyck, and a forged Vermeer. Rembrandt, Van Dyck, and Vermeer. Among the artwork saved was a German carving of Mary Magdalene, now housed in the Louvre. The Louvre. These items were brought in by the guest in a scrapbook with around 60 additional pieces.
In the collection are some of the world's greatest masterpieces. It's astounding and mind-boggling what he had spirited away to these caverns. Over here, for instance, we have a portrait by Rembrandt.
And they highlighted the efforts of the monuments men who safeguarded art during the war, the value of the scrapbook, and the magnificent art pieces at auction would be.
I've put a value on the grouping that we see here before us at auction of $2,000 to $3,000.
A set of mallet furniture produced by Knoll International between 1966 and 1968. They were designed by Chilean artist Roberto Matta, known for his million-dollar paintings. Roberto Matta. This line exemplifies Matta's foray into furniture design.
As some of the stains and the wear and tear show, it has been very well used. It was in a family of 4 kids and 6 cousins.
The mallet line, made of polyurethane foam with a con covering, embodies the 1960s experimental spirit with new materials like foam and plastic. Interchangeable and interlocking pieces allowed the furniture to function as both seating and sculpture.
With this con covering in 1966, when you had people like Alexander Calder.
Examples of this furniture are housed at the Philadelphia Museum of Art and the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Philadelphia Museum of Art. Museum of Modern Art, New York. Despite some rips and stains, the set retains its historical and design significance. In perfect condition, such a set with its provenance and uniqueness would fetch.
Sets like this retail in perfect condition for about $3,000 or $3,200.
This painting of an American bison serves as a cultural icon of Oklahoma and is referred to as the monarch of the plains.
Yeah, did you pay a lot of money for it?
I paid about $3,500 for it.
Okay. About how long ago?
Within the last 10 years.
Discovered in a gallery in upstate New York, the guest purchased it some years back. The painting is by Frank Tenney Johnson, known for his night paintings and cowboy scenes. Frank Tenney Johnson. Johnson was born in Iowa, trained in New York, and moved to Colorado around the turn of the century, later relocating to California in 1920. A commercial artist, he was associated with prominent figures like Charles Russell and Norman Rockwell. Charles Russell, Norman Rockwell. The painting's depiction of an American bison, Oklahoma's state animal, adds to its appeal and value. Map of Oklahoma. The current market for American paintings, especially those of the West, is very high. The collectors appreciate iconic subjects like this, despite being a bit small for Johnson's typical works and featuring a southbound view of a northbound bison. The painting is valued at.
I would say a value these days is probably in the neighborhood of $15,000 to $20,000.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
On exhibit today are remarkable written works chronicling the historic feat of humanity's first moon landing. Our guest received this remarkable book titled First on the Moon as a gift from his father. The autographs of Buzz Aldrin, Mike Collins, and the renowned Neil Armstrong adorn this book, adding to its historical significance. These men achieved a remarkable feat in 1969, becoming the first to set foot on the moon.
The 3 inscriptions, as you mentioned, you've got Neil Armstrong, the most well-known, and then Buzz Aldrin right there.
Neil Armstrong declined our guest's father's offer to collaborate on his biography in this letter.
And this here is a letter from Neil Armstrong to your dad.
Right. My dad was really interested in...
This book, which tells the story of the first voyage to the moon, was published in 1970. With its excellent state of preservation, this treasure is a highly valuable item, expected to have an auction value of.
We would auction estimate the book itself at $4,000 to $6,000.
Wow.
While the letter from Neil Armstrong would have an auction estimate of.
The letter here from Neil, we would estimate that at $1,000 to $1,500.
Wow.
Bronze impacts a feeling of wealth and nobility when used in art and architecture, but the subject matter of this particular bronze sculpture is controversial.
Do you recall how much it was valued for at the time?
I believe between 20 and 25.
Okay. So what we have here is a sculpture by Frederick William MacMonnies.
This bronze sculpture, titled Bacchant and Faun, was crafted by Frederick William MacMonnies, who was best known as an expatriate American sculptor of the Bew Art School. He was also a highly accomplished painter and portraitist. This sculpture is a 15.5-inch model that was initially exhibited in 1894 at the Paris Salon. Due to its controversy, the full-sized original was moved from the Boston Public Library to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. MacMonnies later recast smaller editions, making this model highly sought after.
Really?
So the gift was withdrawn and it was donated to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where it sits today.
Also, this sculpture is signed F. MacMonnies and dated 1896 with a Paris foundry mark. Well preserved and in excellent condition, this bronze sculpture, with its rich history, would auction for.
When they come up for auction, the auction estimates are $3,000 to $5,000.